So again, you might notice the voice on the intro is a little bit different. It's Dean. Andrew's not here. I'm going to say we fucked up, but we didn't. We've just been so busy. We went to the fitness summit in Kansas City. We had all these guests lined up, and we have a bunch lined up for the future. But we ran into one of those weeks where we just don't have one. So, to make a long story short again, you get to listen to us probably talk about something. I'm not quite sure where we're going to go. I think we want to talk about something about reviewing what we've done in the past, and then probably talk about where we're at, and probably just talk about a bunch of dumb shit for hopefully about a half an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to cue music. Then I'm going to call Andrew, and then he's going to be probably talking with his cats, having a bottle of scotch, a drink of scotch, I hope, and then we're going to talk about some stuff. So without further ado...
Shut up and sit down.
God damn it. Sorry. I was going to call the wrong number. Then I called the anonymous number that called me, which is probably some Russian number saying that I owe them money or I need to go to jail. But here is Andrew. We're going to try to sound super unprepared. We are, but we're not. I really don't know where this is going to go.
Hey, dude. How you doing?
Good, man. We're recording. We're doing it exactly like we talked about. And we're going to try to make it sound like we're not ready for it.
Hello, bud?
Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear this? How about that?
Can you hear that?
There. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I had headphones in. So.
See, I'm the technology guy, but I don't know if that worked. So now you can hear me good. Or well.
Now I can hear you. I think it was my line. So okay.
Sweet. So what I told the audience is that we kind of fucked up but we're going to just talk and run with it for the week. And then you're going to have a scotch. I'm going to have a diet root beer. And then we're going to just kind of...
Scotch.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go have another.
I go have another. Jesus. I was just fucking talking shit, so I guess I was right.
Okay.
So what do you want to really do today? I know we kind of talked about it, but...
Well, we could easily go over the fact that we are, 36 episodes into this ridiculous adventure. I just looked. 73,000 all-time listens between all of our episodes.
Yeah.
Averaging over 2,000 episodes, downloads an episode. This particular episode will drag that ratio down. People don't really want to listen to us too much, but we do, like you alluded to, we have to fill in the gap of a week where we're traveling. We're busy at the Kansas City Fitness Summit, which a lot of our listeners actually were there, which was pretty cool. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so we'll go from there. We're trying to bore people together.
I was just gonna say, are you on? What are you on? You on headphones?
Nope. I'm just.
What's it sound like? What sounds like if you don't go on headphones?
What now?
What does it sound like if you don't go on the headphones?
I'm not on headphones. I took them off. So phone in my ear. We're good.
There, now we're good. Yeah, no kidding. So yeah, we just went to this fitness summit and we actually talked to a bunch of guests that we've had in the past. I would say we were in a little bit different of a state. Liquor wise, there was none involved, absolutely none. But
None
I think
whatsoever. Still caffeine. There's lots of sleep.
I think one of the cool things is when you do a podcast like this, you get to, I guess, get to know people on, we'll call it the internet. It ends up being, whether it's Skype or a phone call or some shit, Facebook interactions, but it's kind of a different story when we get down to nitty gritty and get into an environment where there's not much fitness or nutrition going on in any form or fashion, and then kind of diving into some real shit. And I know you had some cool stories with that, but you want to kind of just talk on that a bit? Yeah.
Who would have thought that a bunch of fitness professionals gather together for a fitness event and they throw all of the shit that we talk about nearly completely out the window? Not everybody was bad, but... So we had just previous podcast guests there. Let's see, Kelly Coffey was there. She gave a great presentation on working with people who are dealing with recovery from addiction. So that's a lot of what Kelly has dealt with her people. So she's super. We got a great episode with her. Mark Fisher was there. He presented. He's always theatrical and colorful and ebullient and a beautiful human being. He was great. Who else do we have? Dean Somerset. See, we'll get that out of the way right now. A little running joke.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they kind of knows we fuck with Dean every single episode. So him and Tony Delacour did a pre-conference thing, so they were super. Dean's done a couple episodes with us. Sarah Ashman, Jay Ashman were there. Who else? There's a few more. We'll think of them as we go.
Well, one of the cool things, and I guess we've kind of been talking about it a lot lately, but I think with Kelly's addiction thing, and she dealt with specifically with women, but I guess the definition of addiction was kind of not just limited to like drugs or alcohol, and then just how it kind of has an effect on this industry as a whole. And it was kind of neat to see how she kind of dealt with it. You know what I mean?
Alluding to that, people like to argue in our industry a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of shit. And one of the arguments of many, and usually it's the minutiae, the little things that don't matter too much, is whether food is an addiction.
Yeah.
So people who think about these arguments in black and white terms get themselves in trouble. I tend to, some people like to use the term addiction with food. It would be irresponsible to compare food addiction directly to drug addiction, but it's also not as simple as making that distinction. Food and eating does take on psychologically addictive properties, even if I'm a little uncomfortable with straight out calling it an addiction. And the reason why I personally am a little uncomfortable is I think that a lot of our society is very good at now, especially this tendency towards overt kindness and, oh no, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
You know, oh, it's, and people blame, or will enable people to blame everything that's external and not take responsibility. I don't like blaming people for, as we're alluding to here, quote, obesity. That's a shitty attitude to take. But you are, Nick Sorrell sort of hit on this in his podcast episode, but when you turn around and you, I don't want to say this, give someone a complete pass on any responsibility for their decisions that they made up at that point, you rob them of the ability to make future choices or feel in control of the situation. And where I'm a little wary of waving around the food as an addiction in its strongest sense is when you start labeling, even like labeling obesity as a disease, which for all intents and purposes
it is, yeah.
We've established that. But we walk with caution with this because the moment we say, oh, it's a disease, you can't help it, it's not your fault, and I get careful with words like fault, then we start saying to people, you can't control this, your fate is sealed, your outcome is predetermined, and there's nothing you can do to affect a positive change. And that might alleviate some of the emotional discomfort for a few people, but it's not going to ever make them happy.
Well, I think that's the problem with, I'm going to just label the term addiction as like a fallback, but essentially, yeah, you rob them of their ability to understand that it's something that needs to fucking be fixed, and sitting there and doing nothing isn't. And I think that's where people will use that as like, oh, it's not my fault, and it gives them a reason not to do the hard work, which is getting into uncomfortable, which is pretty much doing all the shit to fix it and unpacking all the the deep psychological realm of bullshit that has to do with that. But then on top of that, there's actually physiological things they have to do, like eat less food, eat healthier choices, probably go do some sort of workout program. And when we label addictions, we kind of say that, you know what I mean, there's a different route for that. And really, the problem is the problem. The route is still the same. You just have to understand that you have to fucking deal with some shit.
You just said the same thing I was thinking in just a different way.
Yeah.
It's perfect. You need to deal with these symptoms of it, and you can treat it as, quote, a disease or as an addiction.
Or you can treat it as something that's
not. It's really fucking important to make people feel in control and empowered. And if you're going to walk that line, it's fine. But arguing over the semantics of what is an addiction and what is
but the one thing that was cool wasn't even like the argument of semantics. The words around it was that one of the coolest things that stood out for me with her presentation was that idea of like moderation, and then somehow with, let's just say, food addiction and stuff, people kind of demonize some of these extreme habits that people have that really are habits that get them doing the right things, and then when to pull back and change that, but like basically halting it. It has to be done this way. You have to do these activities. If you don't do this, you should do this. And where someone's like, I just want to do this because it makes me feel healthier, and then kind of to embrace some of those changes, and then obviously build them back up to get them to the place they need to be, but not road blocking behaviors that are better than the shit behaviors they were doing. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, like the whole idea about extremes and what she said in that presentation.
Yeah.
You really can't do certain things moderately. If you're recovering from drug addiction and alcoholism, moderate doesn't really work.
No.
So it does mean extreme measures for success. And I think anyone who's probably gone through these sort of things and has recovered from them understands that you have to embrace extreme. Again, our industry tries to be very kind, very loving, and very protective of the fragile selves. And people are really fucking tough. And again, going to this presentation, these are people that quite literally have come at the other end of drug addiction and alcoholism. They're tough and resilient. So, telling them to, and this is what she said in the presentation, telling them to do a little bit more extra push-up or eat some vegetables is what she said. That's not going to fucking break them. No. They're going to be just fine. So that was a really super presentation. I suppose one of the cool things that came out of this event as well, we don't want to talk too much about it because for our casual listeners, we want to give them things that are actionable. But something to look forward to in the not-too-distant future. We haven't scheduled these specifically, but some of the event presenters got some time with Bryan Krahn, the good guy. He's pretty well known. Alan Aragon, Stan Efferding, the Rhino. He's famous IFBB pro bodybuilder.
And that was a weird one, just to halt you. Cause
he just showed up to hang out.
He just showed up and, I don't know who you were talking to, but I was talking to someone, and it didn't really matter. Sorry, person I was talking to. But I know, not many people know who he is in that. Maybe they did, I don't know. But he walks in the back door. I'm like, holy fuck, that's Stan Efferding. Why is Stan Efferding here? He's bigger than everyone. He's strong.
He's the most famous person in the room.
Why is he here? And I was just I just stopped talking. I'm like, do you know who that is? No. I'm like, oh my God. It was great.
We've lined up a handful of, probably near future podcast guests. Some of them really stoked to do it. We were talking to Mike Dola, pretty much the founding guy behind Strong U, and a lot of his people, our friends like Josh Citrone.
Yep.
We'll have Mike and Josh at some various junctures on the podcast as well. So we've got some pretty cool people lined up.
We got some shit going on.
Ketchum is great. He's a really cool fitness business guy.
Yeah. Was there anything else you want to touch on? I guess we could talk about the feedback system, but long story short is events like that kind of, it's the reason why a lot of us fitness professionals do those things, is to learn a lot, but also interact and hear some of those backstories. And I guess that's part of the reason why we did this podcast, is we can put people on here to kind of get those stories out of the way, because we can all hear the same old bullshit. But yeah, it's kind of cool.
Well, I think one of the things of this episode as well is we're going to keep it a little short. So we'll have something really good for you next week. If everything goes according to plan, we should have a really cool roundtable with Dr. Mike Israetel.
Yep.
Dr. Spencer Nadolsky. See two doctors in one episode. One's a medical doctor, one is very much not. So he is supposed to be there as well. She has a message back to confirm to say, hey, she's in for sure, but she did previously say so. And then Bryan Krahn. We're going to do an episode on largely based around the ownership of your clients' results and outcomes as a coach, and how you'll see on social media sometimes coaches will say, oh, well, they didn't follow the program, so therefore it's not my fault, and they will actually sort of, in a general sense, talk down to berate clients who don't follow their plans, and I think that is utter fucking bullshit, as did Brian in a social media post he made. Nick Sorrell echoed it. I did too, turned into a discussion. Spencer's like, hey, let's do a roundtable. So, all goes according to plan. We record that in the morning, and you guys will have it in a week. And it should set us off on a chain of really, really cool and some seriously high-profile guests that have been, informally arranged. They've agreed to appear. We just haven't scheduled the dates yet.
With that in mind, did anyone even combat against that? Did anyone agree with him?
I think in our corner of the fitness industry, which is a very tiny little corner, I generally term the respectable corner of the fitness industry, because let's put it in these terms. There were a little bit more than 100 people at the Insiders event, Kansas City Fitness Summit last weekend.
Yeah.
Go to the Arnold Classic, whatever we got there. 10,000 people, lots of bros and hoes and rodettes and whatever.
There's lots of shit there.
There's a lot of quality people there too, but our corner of the industry, when we talk about this, we are losing the battle for the attention of mainstream North America, because, and we hit on this in a lot of episodes, our message struggles to be as sexy as some of the simple solutions that are bullshit, that are peddled by some people. And Jay Ashman's really good at, pointing out that we don't get anywhere by naming names and being negative and drawing attention to the bad people in our industry. I think there's a few people who can pull it off. We need to walk a fine line, but it's really about taking a look at what they're doing to get that attention. We've said this numerous times. There are people like Mark Fisher, Brett Contreras, Sophie Lee, are just a few examples, who have the mainstream appeal where we can break them through.
Yeah.
And I could see any of them sitting on Oprah's couch and speaking to North America with a better message than what some of the charlatans, again, I'm not going to try to dwell on that, and I'm going to make an effort not to say any names specifically tonight, who are creating problems, and their marketing is very fear-based, and then they create simple solutions. Here, buy this organic salt lamp, and it is going to make all of your problems go away.
Yeah.
The reality is people want quick fixes and simple solutions. But that has also been responsible for a lot of yo-yo dieting over a very long period of time in North American history. And I think if you as a listener, if you know anyone in your life who has very successfully lost a lot of weight and kept it off, who has very successfully put on a lot of muscle or gone from a unfit person to a fit person, you would probably take a look at how much effort they put into it, how it's not just one simple trick that they've changed, but they've changed their entire lifestyle. And that's what we're all about, and that's what our corner of the industry is all about. It's just that most people are fucking lazy, and I mean that with kindness and honesty. They're lazy, and they want to hear, oh, gluten is bad. Therefore, if I don't eat gluten, but if I eat all this gluten-free stuff that's full of calories, I'm going to lose a lot of weight, and that's not how it works.
Well, it's perpetuated.
Eating organic. Oh, eating organic. No, eating organic is not going to change shit. In fact, it's not going to do anything.
Here's my problem, though, with that thought process. I totally agree. It's that whole point that, honestly, I don't even, like you said, you say it really nicely, like they're lazy, but it's not even their. I don't say it's not their fault, because that paints it as something they can't do. But every feedback system is receiving it from every environment, and the environment's created with a bunch of bullshit in terms of the documentaries, the information, shit. It's coming from shit people, and then the things people are attracted to are full of shit people giving shit messages. And then you put into the fact, this is even recent, is who got put on the medical board or where the fuck for Donald Trump. Donald Trump put on the guy from doctors.
Try not to say names, but a certain...
Well, whatever. Like, there's an American president put a lot of suicides.
But that's a symptom of what's going on in North America.
Exactly. It's just like that is what's going on. And it's no wonder people are getting shit information, because they're just surrounded by it. And I guess that's kind of part of, again, quote unquote, our corner of the industry. But the people that are actually in the know on what needs to get fucking done are putting out that stuff, and that's not the main message. And I want to say it's not, and I truly don't think it is, because simple information just isn't reaching the masses, and it makes no fucking sense because it's so simple.
So here's something important to listen to, and every listener, I think it's really important that you register this too. Is every listener who is hearing our voices right now is probably someone who already gets this stuff. Yeah. Therefore, we are speaking within an echo chamber and accomplishing absolutely goddamn fucking nothing. So instead of doing that, it's really important to share with the people around you, people who have a positive message. So if you have someone in your life who is struggling with this stuff, then you have a lot of options. You can, Dean and I obviously are on our social media, on Facebook. Dean's a little bit more on his Instagram. I'm a little bit more on Facebook. So you can follow us in those places. Or any of the guests we've highlighted. You have people like Sophie Lee. People have listened to her episode 7,500 times. Out of 36 episodes, she's responsible for over 10% of the downloads. That's how popular, that's how important she is. And she's got a very marketable persona. She's got a great message. If you want to help someone around you, tell them to follow Sophie. Tell them to follow Spencer Nadolsky. Tell them to follow Carter Good. These are people who are actually gaining a lot of traction and have some really cool shit to say. If you have someone who is, like, their stomach is just a mess because they just don't know what to eat, get into Sarah Ashman's episode. Sarah gets into a lot of really cool cutting-edge stuff on what's going on in your gastrointestinal tract. And that might actually help you. Take a look at the list of guests we have, and stop following stereotypical vapid, hollow, empty, insta-fit girls who are doing body weight exercises on Osu balls with legs and butts that are built from heavy squats and deadlifts, but they're selling something. Get the good people in front of the people in your world and help them a little bit. There's a reason why every person who's listening to this knows someone who is doing keto or talking about keto. And it's cliche to rant on ketogenic diets. I think everybody listening should be familiar with this idea. It's a fad diet. Let's set this aside. It does not work any better than anything else. It is what's in vogue right now. It is what people are talking about. People like to identify, belong to something. They want to be part of a tribe. CrossFit was the tribe. That's sort of fading a bit. Intermittent fasting was the popular thing not too long ago. Paleo before that. Veganism is definitely sort of, I get to belong to veganism. Keto is what people, I'm cool if I belong to that sort of thing.
Mike actually wrote a cool post today. I should read it.
Mike?
Mike Nelson. I'll read it.
Mike Nelson, okay, cool. All right.
But anyways.
Yeah, you get to hang out with Mike Nelson out there too. So Mike T. Nelson, as our industry would know, Mike is a super cool guy. So, this whole idea of fad dieting, and it's a symptom, again, of people seeking a quick fix and easy solution. And, keto's magic. No, it just restricts calories really well. Intermittent fasting is amazing. No, it just restricts calories very well. Paleo dieting, it just restricts calories really well. Veganism, it restricts calories really well. Vegan, I dated a vegan for a very long time, and you know what vegans are really fantastic at? They're great at eating a shit ton of grain and bread and other things that doesn't necessarily restrict calories. But for the most part, vegans tend to be smaller people, and it can be really healthy if you do it the right way. It can be really fucking bad if you don't. There will be something that comes along, and I wrote a post about this recently. There will be the next thing, now it's low carb, keto. Maybe the next thing is going to be low fat. Maybe we'll be back to, who knows, maybe we'll be back to Atkins type stuff again.
Well, it's just like every other thing, though. They use the extremes of success to qualify it as good. Like, I think one of the main things he had in here is like, okay, I think it may work for some ultra endurance athletes. Okay, but like, how many ultra endurance athletes are we talking about? You know what I mean? So people are like, keto's good for like, but that's what I mean. Like, those qualify the fact that it works because some fucking ultra runner did it, and I'm like, that doesn't really correlate.
I would actually go as far as to say that the ultra endurance athlete is successful in spite of doing keto, not because of it. I would say
there's going to be no testing on it.
That if you're involved in any athletics whatsoever, you really need carbohydrates as fuel, or you are going to be selling yourself short. I'll use a good example of this. So I think most people listening to this would have probably heard of Tom Brady. He's kind of famous for being probably the best quarterback in the history of the NFL. He's a little bit weird. He's been doing some strange training things and some strange diet stuff that's got attention recently. So it's like Michael Phelps covered in cupping marks, which again is complete fucking other horseshit. But if it makes you feel better, it's fine. It doesn't hurt except just breaking blood vessels. When I see cupping marks on kids, I get really fucking angry. That's bullshit. That's abuse. Like, leave them the fuck alone. Adults can choose for themselves. So back to Tom Brady or some of the weird shit LeBron James does. People will think, oh God, like Michael Phelps does this cupping, or they're covered in kinesio tape, or Brady is doing this weird nutrition shit. That must be the reason why they're successful. No, my friends, they have been so fucking successful for so long, way before they found this weird shit. I'll use this statement again. They're not successful because of this shit. They're successful in spite.
It's the same thing with training. Like when they talk about LeBron James and his training, it's like, you know what? Doesn't matter what strength coach. He could have done fucking anything, and he would be in the NBA. Like we're talking about like top tier genetics in the whole fucking world.
He is a combination of one of the most gifted physical bodies that has ever played basketball. People talk about who's the best basketball player of all time. And, I like Jordan. And we tend to be egocentric towards people we grew up watching. That's just how we are.
Yeah.
So people say Kobe Bryant, and I get mad because I really can't get behind any human being that has a dodgy track record with treating women like shit. And so Kobe Bryant can go fuck himself as far as I'm concerned. I don't like him very much. It's like, and I piss people off with this rant all the time. People talk about Tupac Shakur as great music. The guy's convicted of sexual assault. Tupac can go fuck himself. And when people like his music, I'm like, you're setting some stuff aside there. You're partitioning some shit. You know, anyway, but I shouldn't be on that rant either. I just have real problems with people like that. So
you don't like Tupac, you don't like Kobe?
No, I don't like Tupac, I don't like Kobe. Yeah. I'm still watching episodes of the Cosby Show on DVD all the time. No, that's not true either.
So that wouldn't correlate.
How much scotch does he drink today? No,
that's okay.
I lost my train of thought. But no, actually, so you look at Michael Jordan, and he may very well be the best basketball player to ever play the game. LeBron, people will argue that, but LeBron has got the most physical gifts of anyone that's ever played. And LeBron could do a lot of really strange things and still be one of the best players to ever play. Brady has been a confident, skilled, successful guy playing for the best coach and one of the best team systems in the history of the NFL. And if he's doing goofy shit with his nutrition as a 39-year-old quarterback, it's probably not going to change a whole lot. He certainly didn't get there by doing this weird shit. So be careful. Here's your underlying message, and setting aside all the other crazy ranting. Be very careful about the specific recommendations or behaviors of top-tier famous people, famous athletes, because it is very unlikely that their success is attributable to some of these goofier, more extreme things.
Well, and you said one good thing is extreme, and I think we've hammered it home with probably every guest, is that the answer lies somewhere in the basics, at least for most people, and get those right, and then start worrying about if you're going to be Tom Brady, because you don't even earn the right to try some of that crazy shit. Like, get your shit under control first. And it's just interesting that people will flock to that first. And I guess we talked about everyone's looking for the easy way, blah, 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 blah. But honestly, the easy way is the most simplest way, not the crazy fucking shit. Usually.
We use euphemism in the industry all the time. There's either majoring in the minor or turning over the big rocks or being too focused on the little rocks or focus on the minutia. We like to argue in our industry about the 5% of shit that we argue about. 95% of stuff people agree on. There is not a single fitness professional in our industry that I'm aware of who is advocating we sleep less or is arguing that sleep is bad for us. But we get some crazy people saying some nutty shit. We do have people who deny that calories matter. We do have those people. I'm not going to name names because guess what? That doesn't go anywhere.
Who's?
Well, it kind of goes to. I'm going to call this shit out because this pissed me off. One of the presentations we may have seen where an individual called out another person who puts out nutritional information who is of the low-carb, tribal sort of idea. But in doing so, basically openly fat-shamed that individual. Now, that was a little bit grotesque, and I was a little bit put off by that, and I don't tend to get offended by much. But it just shot to pieces the credibility of this individual. So let's just not go down that road. Focusing on who these individuals are does not sell training. It does not sell coaching. No one is going to come and say, Dean, I want to come and train with you because you talked shit on your podcast about all these people. The overabundance of what we're trying to do. And yes, occasionally we've actually said we made light of certain things. And guess what? We're going to have our fun with that. But 98% of what we do on this podcast is meant to highlight and rave and fawn all the fuck over all these wonderful guests and friends of ours who are doing positive things. And we share very valuable information.
And actually,
if we made this about... Oh, go ahead. Yeah, you go.
I was saying, you keep going with that. I'm going to lead on to where we're going to go with this. Now I got an idea.
If we turn around and made this nothing but scathing nastiness about the stupid people in our industry, and guess what? We can make light of the dumb shit, because the dumb shit we want to educate people about. But if we rant on the dumb people or the nasty people, we're not getting anywhere. We're only drawing attention to those people because somebody is going to have an extreme attitude. I won't get into too much specifics, but we've alluded to this before. People like to poke at it and try to stay away from this. But we have a slightly unusual individual perpetuating some very extreme nutritional ideology, and that's local to the Edmonton area where we are based in. And I refuse to. People have poked at me a bunch of times to confront this, but I refuse to publicly say anything about this particular person and what they're doing, because all that really serves to do, because people know this shit's lunacy, well, most do anyway, but all it serves to do is to draw other extreme minds toward that person, that ideology. And that's what we do when we do that. So it is really important that we, and again, we've gotten caught up and talked about this sort of thing, but I hope the audience actually just takes this stuff to heart and realize, spend less time focused on the bad guys, spend more time focused on the good guys, because there are a lot of good guys, and they need attention because they're great, and a lot of people don't know who the hell they are. And for our audience, for enthusiasts especially,
share this shit, man.
What's that?
Share that shit.
Make sure that people are finding out. If you've got someone in your life who is struggling with addiction, Kelly, they need to know who Kelly Coffey is. If you've got someone who is maybe struggling to, maybe they're a little different. Maybe it's someone who's struggling to come to an identity that's maybe LGBT, and the string of letters that sort of follows along behind that. And you share Mark Fisher and Mark Fisher Fitness and the zany, wonderful, the island of misfit toys that is Mark Fisher Fitness, so that way they can embrace a different culture that is what bro gym culture, and it is full of great fitness information.
Absolutely.
If you get someone who is dealing with, and Clinton said a good point on this, is not labeling people as being injured or dysfunctional or shit wrong with them. But yeah, you get someone who, they're a little banged up, and it's limiting them. Make sure that they're following someone like Dean Somerset on social media, so that way they can go, oh, wait a second, I can actually still train, I can get stronger, and this shit's going to get better. So share with the world around you the fitness professionals that you've realized, you've seen are really great people. And our podcast is full of these great people. There's tons of people like Jordan Syatt, who has such a positive message. He's a really great guy. The list goes on and on. If someone's looking for really detailed, technical, nutritional information, guys like Brad Dieter, James Cleaver are recent. If you've got a bikini competitor who is really struggling with maybe body image issues, and maybe their coach is doing some cookie cutter stuff and whatever, someone like Soheili, who's been, or Holly Baxter, she's incredible. This just list goes on and on and on of the cool fitness professionals that we've had on this podcast. Right? Go ahead.
No, that makes total sense. And I think one of the things I wanted you to touch on, since I'm just going to get you to do it, is if you can kind of go sift through. I think at this point we're at 35 episodes.
31 minutes. 31.
32 minutes. And
so this will almost certainly be episode number 37. And you're going to record an intro to this one, and people are like, what?
I probably won't even say the intro number. I think that
do it.
The main, I already wrote it. I was just like, hey, we're going to call Andrew, ring, 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 cue music, and then we're going to go.
That'll do.
But one of the main things was we kind of wanted to review a little bit. And instead of reviewing it, it's just, can you think of like one commonality, I guess, between I guess at this point our 36 episodes that we recorded, where you think that some of our readers can take home as far as like your favorite actionable piece, let's say?
God, you should have asked me this before. I struggle to pull just on the spot, things out of these episodes. I'm just trying to think of something that common threads between all these episodes is still a focus on good information, but genuinely caring about and trying to help people.
Yeah.
I wish I could have like.
Actually, let's go here then. Like, I kind of think, what was your favorite topic we've kind of dived down?
Well, you know what? Let me pull up a list of the actual episodes we've had. So, audience, bear with us. And just trust it there and talk. Okay, I think that would be really helpful right now. Just say some random bullshit.
Well, some random bullshit is essentially, like I said, one of the reasons why we wanted to do this episode. Probably just to get something out because we want to give something every week, but also just to kind of do a review. We've been so busy lately with so much shit, especially with recording all 35 episodes at this point, and we probably have another 20. How many do we have up?
Well, how many
do we have in the bag? We're gonna be at 15 lined up here at any point here.
I think with advanced meetings, I probably have about 15 different guests all, sort of lined up. And there's just a million good takeaways from a lot of these episodes. And, if anyone is listening to this and they haven't gone back too deeply into it, what I always tell people, instead of just randomly trying to listen to them all, because that's daunting, that's too much, is send me a personal message. You send it to you too, but you send me a personal message and tell me, okay, what are you interested in? Where are you right now? And I will pick something out of all these episodes and say, this is where I want you to start. Or this is the person I think you really should start with. This is a more recent episode, but I really did like this particular conversation. It's Joey Posia.
Yeah.
So Joey, we titled it, we had a graphic from The Grey, which is about wolves. And it was this analogy about, feeding which wolf of the two wolves do you feed, in this fable about putting your energy into either positive things or negative things. And it kind of goes to some of the stuff I've said today, and it's part of my philosophy. If you put emotional energy into good in your life, into positive, into the people around you in a good way, then that grows. That's the wolf that grows. That's a stronger wolf. But if you channel a lot of your energy into negativity, into drama, into this toxic stuff, into blaming other people, and not making the choice to take action, positive steps to improve your own situation, then you're feeding that bad wolf. And we see people do this all of the time.
Yeah.
I remember my old work environment, I dealt with a lot of stuff, a lot of victim behavior, victim mentality, it's other people's fault, and nastiness and negativity. And I even caught myself being drawn into it more than I was comfortable with. That, I think, is a really important message for life in general. And Joey's a marketing guy. Joey, I'm actually in the process of reading his book now. I'll plug it again. Why Do You Hate Money? It's just a super awesome book. And I ordered that recently, and I'm having a great time with it.
You know what's funny about the fact you brought up the good wolves? I had a huge post today. I've just been starting to just journal on Facebook because I was like, fuck it, I'm writing half this shit down. Let's just put it on Facebook. But long story short, it goes back to that good and bad wolf, and I put it down to basically what drains your energy vampires. But it's one of those things where I think most people walk around knowing what is good and right and then what makes them stressed out. But sometimes they don't put a label to that, and what I mean by that is, like I said, it's easy to know that winning feels good and fucking eating good food feels good, but sometimes we get so caught up in all the bullshit that we tend to just ignore a lot of those feelings. And Joey had that analogy paints it out perfectly, but long story short is do more good shit, do less bad shit, but also realize when something is good and true, to figure out what that is so that you can do more of it and don't just take it for granted that some of these things are improving your life, whether that's good habits, gym, food, whatever, saying nice things to people, and then kind of getting rid of the bad shit. But some people go through life with so much stress that they don't even understand what's fucking stressing them out and putting labels to that. So it's just interesting that same analogy, different context, but it's still this, it can be applied in so many ways. I just like having stories to it. So that was a way better way of painting it.
Well, you said something here I like a lot too, and to your listener as well. And this is intuitive, but people still don't necessarily apply it. Go out into the universe and smile at people.
Yeah.
Say something nice. Do something nice. It's not just a pay it forward sort of behavior, which gesture will that can work too, but you have an unbelievable power to affect other people around you positively. Because you know what? You know how often just people being whatever's going on in the world affect you negatively, drain you, piss you off, make your day harder. Those people don't see themselves as bad people. Maybe, just maybe, you look at it and go, you know what, that's a circumstance, they're having a bad day. But I also think it's really important not to let that stuff affect you. But conversely, we have incredible power to affect a total stranger or someone in your life in a very positive way by doing something small to make your life better. And I promise you, that stuff comes back on you in surprising ways.
And one of the weird things is, so, good point. You know what I mean? Do something good. But here's the kicker, and what's going to actually make you aware of why it's good is when you're doing shit like that, understand how it feels. What do you feel inside? What's the emotion attached to that? What does it make your body feel? Hey, did you get calmer? And that does two things. A, it brings recognition to it. And then if you do it more often and bring actual cognizant, conscious recognition to it, you'll do it more often. But knowing how it feels also creates empathy in terms of how does it feel in someone else, which just is like a huge feedback loop that allows you to do it. But it's that whole idea of fake it till you make it. But don't necessarily fake it, but understand it and own it and do it more often and just know what it feels like, because that's exactly what you need to do with all the things that are good, is do more of it, but also understand the implications physiologically, but also mentally on your organism in terms of that, and then do it. Because if you don't understand it, most people, like I said, it just becomes intuitive, which is fine, but intuitive doesn't always work out, especially when your brain makes pretty poor judgments in a lot of situations. You know what I mean?
I have no goddamn clue what you mean. Just kidding. And if anybody else actually could make sense of what he just said, I want you to go post on his wall and actually comment on that. I'm totally fucking with you.
I was like, what? That makes sense, I swear.
Yeah, no, it made sense to you. So, and I think I'm kidding. No, every episode we ask a guest, and we have no guest today. I guess I'm sort of being the guest because you're treating like that. We offer up a book to read, and it kind of ties in with what you just said. I like making those small positive efforts. If you have never read or you're not familiar with the book The Slight Edge, it has come up in our podcast before.
Yeah.
Very simple message. It is kind of, as I look back, something that I've done consistently in my life. It is on a daily basis. Daily being a metaphor for regularly. It could literally mean daily, or it could mean just on a regular basis. Doing small, positive steps. Maybe it is going to the gym. Maybe it has to do with you eating good. The analogies in the book often are, when it comes to saving a little bit of money every day, a really clear message is reading 10 pages of valuable educational literature a day. You will not create overnight success. That is a myth. That is never going to happen to any of you. And if you're looking for that quick fix, guess what? You're fucked. It's not going to work. Instead, and all the successful people, everyone who's ever accomplished anything, has done it with daily behavior that is incrementally positive. Little things that you just don't notice adding up. And then over time, because those things have added up to the point where it's put you in front of good opportunities, it's added up over a long period of time, things start to take off a bit. I think both of our careers are a good example of
Absolutely.
that. It's kind of fun. You're sort of hiding from the fact at the Fitness Summit that you've been doing this now. How long have you officially been working in the fitness industry? About a year?
Like a year and a half.
I've never seen an individual in this industry who has done as much as aggressively as you have. You've been surrounded by brilliant people. You've had great opportunities, and you've embraced those things. I've been doing this now 7.5 years. I can promise you that things were incremental for a very long time. Only more recently, in the last year, pretty much a year and a half ago, I left my job under a commercial gym banner and stepped out on my own. That was a really good move. God fucking damn it, am I lucky that I did it when I did, because nasty shit's gone down recently, and a whole heap ton of trainers all left because they got fucked.
And you touched on something really important there, and honestly, let's just use our stories for example, is that incremental changes to hopefully something pops off at some moment. For people in life, it could be that change that's going to get them their big breakthrough, or mentally or physically, and some people it's that job or whatever. Nick Sorrell was sitting down, and I was just like interested in like how do some of these people, young and old, pop off at when they do, and it comes down to that whole idea of start doing the right things and just do more of them. And you know what? You'll get your turn. And get your turn means some people want it now, and they're doing things for the wrong reasons. But if you're doing the right things in the right way, and quote unquote right is however you want to define it, but for whatever industry you want to be in, you got to do those things that are going to get you ahead. But don't expect shit, because I think that if you expect that you kind of think you need to do things, just do what you're going to do it the right way, and wait your fucking turn. And again, it's those small incremental changes, and who knows when shit pops off. And I think for both of us, we realize as you start networking with more people, they each have individual stories. And even if you go through all of our guests, you can kind of piece together a story of what happened. And they're all fairly similar. They just happened maybe 1, 2, 5 years apart, maybe in different times of their life, but they all had fairly similar stories. And they were just doing the good shit more every day.
We've had terrible fucking experiences in our lives. And,
yeah.
I know Jay Ashman has had some super rough experts. Look what the guy's doing. Now, shout out to Jay Ashford, opening Kansas City Barbell. Love the guy. He's a great friend. I'm so proud of what him and Sarah are doing. They're just crazy successful. They're awesome. I mean, how many guests of ours went through, debilitating physical injuries that really mess them up? Megan Calloway, talked about that. Lindsay Somerset, really, went through a nasty period. They're not the only ones. So if anyone listening to this stuff thinks all of these fit pros that we featured have had a road paved with gold that has been easy, you are kidding yourself.
Well, absolutely. Even if you talk to them, like I said, we learn some of their backstories, and part of the reason why we do that is to get some of that shit, but they're not too different. And I think that if you look through anyone that has gone through quote-unquote shit of some sort, and everyone's gone through shit, but the people who have been resilient to that and have continued to kind of break off of that and start to build good habits, is you go through that process of learning, and coming out of that experience makes them more, eligible for that opportunity when it comes because of their experience and because they're resilient. And then the people that they reach are solely based on that experience they've built, and that's why things pop off. But I think that if you expect things out of trauma, you're fucking losing your fucking mind. You got to build a true resilience to that and a skill set, I guess, paved in shit to kind of come out with those goals, I guess, and that success.
Like Mark Fisher's presentation, sifting through a giant 5-pound
bag of shit
for
diamonds. Yeah,
it's an insider joke, guys. If you were there, you'd know what it means.
But it makes even
you need to follow Mark Fisher.
Even for our audience, think about it. There's a big pile of shit and you're looking for diamonds. But long story short is, if you knew there was diamonds in that shit, you're going to go through it. Like, find the fucking diamons. The diamonds are the good behaviors.
I've waded through some metaphorical shit in my life, and things turned out pretty good. So we're at the 45-minute mark. I'm at a scotch.
Yeah.
And,
I think that's it. Like, I don't even know.
It was dangerous. I continued. We have to record tomorrow morning with the big group. So I think that's a good cutoff point. Guys, go read the book, The Slight Edge. You'll be happy. And if you want to find me and Dean on social media, Guido Power, at Guido Power, is it at Guido Power 1?
Guido.power? I don't know. Yeah, Guido.
Just search Guido Power, you'll find it. See, we pronounce it Guido. It's technically Guido.
It's Guido, really, but I just learned that like a year ago. But
yeah, it's Guido. Just embrace it, like deal with it. It's
cool. Absolutely.
At Andrew Coast Fitness on Instagram. I'm probably going to be a more interesting follow on Facebook, to be quite honest. I kind of like the a little bit more. Instagram, I try to keep up with it, but guess what? I'm older. I'm not a millennial, so you know what? The Snapchat is not for me. I'm on Twitter, basically to follow fit pros and porn stars, and that's just about it.
That sounds like you.
You're just like, really? Did you just say that?
I'm not joking.
Yeah, and to find out that, I'm not going to say that, but we won't get political. But guys, thanks for tuning into this episode where we really were just filling dead air. We just wasted 45 minutes of your life. If you're one of those weird people that could actually listen to podcasts on like 1.5 or 2 times speed, like what the actual fuck? I mean, I listen to both audiobooks on 2 times speed, and that's great. But I can't do the podcast thing.
There's no, and just because I know, like you maybe they could Andy more, like if someone talking slow, you could do it. But I know for a fact I don't talk slow.
And you need to listen to on 2 times speed, because the long, thoughtful pauses of Andy Morgan.
Like, how does he even do that? Like,
I don't know.
Exactly. You're fucking.
Jesus, he was plastered in Kansas City. Andy, love you, buddy. He probably is listening to this. He's got his own podcast. Go, if you want a fun podcast, go listen to Andy Morgan. Apologize to all the guests who we didn't shout out. Patrick Pumphrey, Chad Hargrove, and so many more. You guys are amazing. We wouldn't have 73,000 downloads. We wouldn't have 36 episodes with a lot more coming up, if not for great people to showcase. So, for the audience, if you made it this far, I commend you, because I probably wouldn't have made it this far.
Just trust we got good shit down the pipeline. I think that because of the success of it, we've gotten opportunities to just bounce around the crowd, and then we just keep getting more and more and more. And we truly do have a fuck ton of like actual ones I'm looking forward to personally. Not that I didn't look forward to the other shit, but like we're literally making headway, and there's just too much to kind of add in. We just need to schedule in a way that works with real life in our situation, and then just kind of getting it out there. And we're just going to keep doing what we're doing, and we found a model, I want to say, that works for how we operate. And I hope that you guys appreciate it, because we're trying to do something different. We know you can go to all our guests and listen to all the same shit that they do in all their podcasts, and our goal is to literally just do something different, something that appeals to everyone, and something that kind of gets down to some topics that they don't usually talk about.
Different questions, because you know what, they've done tons of these. If you want to go and listen to Brad Dieter, go search Brad Dieter on iTunes. You'll find 30 some odd episodes. Dieter publicly said that it was the most fun he's ever had on a podcast, the best one he's done. That was super cool. These are effing different shit. Oh yeah, here's a little teaser. I haven't booked him yet, but not just in future. We'll have Dr. Lane Norton on. I've also chatted with Brett Bartholomew, who's a really super awesome coach, and plus people like Brett Contreras, who we listed earlier. So we got some cool shit coming up. Oh, Chad Landers. If you don't know who this guy is, I just want you to follow him now. This is one of the most beautiful human beings, possibly. Such a cool guy.
Greg Knuckles. We got fucking, like, I don't even, like, it's just basically everyone. And then hopefully we get another friend.
We'll have Dean Somerset back. We got an episode earmarked for him, and we'll probably talk about wrestling.
Mike Dola will do it. Like, Jesus.
Mike Dola will do it.
See, that's what I mean. Like, I could probably rip off a bunch of names already committed. We just got to put it in the schedule. So just know that, honestly, we work hard on trying to get stuff that's going to make sense for you guys. And if you're still listening, great. If not, I don't know. Fucking go reviews.
Hey,
we got 45 reviews, and I know we get 500 people at least downloading it before 9 a.m. So, like, go fucking per a review, just so, like, people actually learn about.
So disappointed. Like, what? We didn't get a high-profile guest. Those two were bullshitting. Andrew might have been drunk. I'm not drunk, by the way.
Yeah, but, like, give us a fucking review. That's the only thing we got on you. We don't have ads and shit, so just go give us I don't know how the stars thing works. Give stars and shit and see where it ends up. But other than that, man, I don't know. I'm going to go literally hit X, then I'm going to add the music in, and then I'm going to upload it, and then we're good.
Include some ridiculous graphic that has our heads in it that I have no idea. It's probably going to be terrible. Yeah, I actually think, seriously, find something like one of those buddy comedies.
I already know what I'm doing. If you listen to it this far, I'm going to be, like, literally holding on to a puppy, and then your head's going to be small, and it's going to be on the puppy's head.
It doesn't sound fantastic at all.
That's what it's happening, though. It's gonna be cool.
Just do like Shanghai Noon, and it's just called it.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do, man. We'll see.
Give me a title. Lethal Weapon could be lethal. I don't know. You play with that idea. So we come up with.
We should do this off air so that they don't understand our thought process, which isn't very difficult or original, but it works. So yeah, peace out.
But no bullshit, guys. Peace out. Cheers.
Shut up and sit down.